So welcome to the Narrabri District Health Service. As you've come through the front door, they will be an automatic airlock through the day. It'll be locked down like our current building is at 8 p.m. at night. This is our main reception. The glass is now closed at this current point in time, but in daylight hours, our reception is actually going to open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the new facility. And if you're coming and you're going to be admitted to our hospital, we would actually ask you to present here, be admitted at admissions, and then go to the ward. The coffee shop behind you will be run by the United Hospital Auxiliary ladies, and they'll actually be working 9 till 3, I understand. So if you can follow through, there's a number of doors that we have to go through. We're now going into diagnostics. This is our diagnostics department. We've co-located pathology services and x-ray services into the one part of the building. So they're actually open from 8 till 4:30, just like they are in our current site. Just in front of you is actually the blood collection room. The laboratories around the back, if you keep moving through the door. And then this is the main waiting room for that lot of people. In this room we also have provision for ultrasound services, the CT that's currently over at the hospital, and general x-ray. We actually are moving one modality at a time, and then once we move into this facility we won't have general x-ray. So this is our emergency department. Just like our current emergency department, the entrance is actually out the back. You'll actually see signage as you come into the door. You won't come to the front roundabout, you'll actually keep going and go round to the back. This is our 2 resuscitation bays for those sick people. This is the community health centre, and it's roughly like a racetrack, so it's actually around the whole outside. These lovely coloured rooms here is for paediatric services. Dental, for those who use dental, will be just tucked in there to your right. As we walk around this corridor, we actually go past a number of consulting rooms, and then we'll have interview rooms. All of the visiting doctors that we currently have on this site are actually going to use rooms down this corridor. So the psychiatrist that currently comes to community health will actually come over here. Our paediatrician, since they now have some paediatricians back in Tamworth, is recommencing his service in the new year, the cardiologist. So all of those services will be in this part of the building. So around the next corner are all of the interview rooms. So those services that don't actually do lots of things with patients, as in physically touching or handle any body fluids, such as the dietitian, mental health, drug and alcohol, will use these service rooms. This is the gymnasium. So Susie Nash is very impressed. She'll actually have a full-blown physiotherapy room to be able to do treatment in this facility. So around this corner, we'll actually come past the day centre, where those elderly clients who currently have services with Sue Hanrahan or Amanda Wan, who's now on maternity leave, they'll actually be having day centre activities in this room. The audiometry room, so I've actually got a whole booth. So anybody who's had a hearing test in the current one, it's very little. It's actually 3 or 4 people can actually fit in the new booth if you want to have a look inside as you come past. So this is our inpatient unit. It's actually a U-shaped building, and we'll go down both of the wings and then we have to go back out this door. Across the front are our higher dependency, so the really sick people. We actually do have some great innovation in this building. You know, we've got connecting critical care cameras in these 2 rooms that enable us to actually talk to doctors in Sydney, Newcastle, Tamworth, you know, if we've got a critical person and the doctor on site needs some more advice. This wing that we're now coming to is designated more for mothers, babies, children. So it's slightly different colour to the other. There will be overflow if we have used all our beds on the other side, but we're predominantly having children here. If you just want to go through, I know these doors close, and just open the door. This is birthing, and if you have a look at the end, there's a brilliant birthing bath that the midwives are so happy about, that they've actually got a bath that people can have babies in this new facility. So yeah, so this is birthing. We've tried to make it a bit more friendly, hence there's a television. There is actually a whole heap of medical gases and things behind the cabinet, so that it's a bit more friendly, home-like, that if they need expert medical care, they're hidden, but if they don't, you know, it's actually a bit more warm and fuzzy and friendly. So out we go, and we'll go down the end of the corridor. and those who haven't been able to get in can come in. Down this corridor, as I said, is typically for mothers, babies, children. You'll notice that as we get to one of the inpatient wards, for children they're actually bright yellow, the walls in them. And we actually have gone with a separate paediatric playroom, which is the next room along. Yeah. That we've actually started fitting out, so there's some wall activities in there, just like you'd see at a McDonald's restaurant or one of those, and there will be some outdoor gyms and stuff for kids to play. But we thought that gave us better flexibility than our current facility, because if we have sick kids or have no sick kids, we can't actually use those rooms because the play and everything's in there. So they're typical either 2 or 1 bedroom rooms in the whole facility. Okay. This room here are our 2 palliative care rooms. They're all self-contained, they've got kitchenettes. You'll actually see one of our innovations that are in this facility and not in a lot of others. There's overhead lifting devices in over 7 of our beds, which helps the staff with manual handling, that they can actually remote control, move people around, up, down, sit them in chairs. So we think that's brilliant. It certainly will help the staff with not getting any injuries. Okay, so this is our operating theatre suite. Currently, if you've been in theatre at our current hospital, you actually get wheeled down a corridor. Here it is all self-contained. It's directly opposite the inpatient unit, so if we need to take a patient from the inpatient, we'll come directly across here. These are our day surgery beds on this side. Around the corner this way is our 2 recovery beds, and they'll actually walk into the operating theatre. Okay, so this is the operating theatre. We're actually walking in the patient exit. Okay, so this is our theatre. We actually have our central sterilising behind, where we actually sterilise all of our equipment after we've actually used it. That's actually the anaesthetic induction bay that we're actually going in through now. So we'll actually come into the theatre through that room in the future. The door straight ahead is actually the office accommodation building for the whole block. So all of the community health staff, when they're not actually seeing clients, will actually be down there. My office as the health service manager is there. Margot Carberry as the community health manager's office is there. So basically we're all down the back of the house because clinical care is more important, so they're at the front. It doesn't mean you don't have access to all of us as the management team, that people do. We've actually have located an office at the front that we can actually then come and talk to people out the front. So we're actually going to go through the kitchen, and we're actually going to go out the back door, and then we're going to walk around on the grass. As I said, no, it will still be exactly the meals that we're having now. Some of the parts of the meals are cooked off-site and brought in. Some of the parts of the meals are prepared here. So this is actually where our loading dock and things are. So this is the loading dock for the kitchen, their supplies. If you really want to know, that's the back door to the mortuary where the mortician comes. We've actually created an external entrance for people who like to view their relatives, which is just around the corner, so that people who are distressed at the time don't actually have to walk through the whole hospital, that everybody sees them. They can discreetly ask staff to actually meet them at the back door. We'll meet them, and then they can actually do that in private and then leave. At this point in time, this driveway only links to Cameron Street because of the old building. It will be on the road work eventually, but when that's done. So this is the loading dock area where all of our deliveries for the new facility are currently coming to. Over the next couple of weeks, obviously we've got lots of work to do. You didn't see much medical equipment or anything in here. Once we've actually done all of that, we'll then announce via the paper when we're actually moving patients over.